Hello everybody, today we are going to discuss A Roadside Stand by Robert Frost. So you might already have read and studied one poem by Robert Frost, that is The Road Not Taken. And here in this poem, the poet is talking of the suburban people, the countryside people who live a pathetic life, and their lives are totally dependent on the city dwellers, the city people who pass by them on the highways, and they expect these people to buy something from them, because if they have some inflow of money from these people, only then they can survive and flourish and prosper. So their whole life depends on these people who pass by their shops and stalls on the highways. So here the poet is totally talking of these kinds of people and expressing their miserable state and wants something to be done for these people. They should come out of this misery and this wretched life, and something must be done for these people. People should come forward and do something for these people. They should provide some help to these people. That's what he is talking of in this poem. Now let's see how he has conveyed all these ideas here. It's a long poem, or we can say in this CBSE curriculum it is the longest one, and some beautiful we can say literary devices have also been used by the poet here to convey his idea. So let's see how it is all presented and conveyed by Robert Frost. Robert Frost, who is said to be a modern poet, and generally he has talked about the divide, the gap between the modern life and the early life, and he has presented several such conditions in his poem, that how though he talks of nature as well in his poems, but through nature he talks of the modern life. This is what we have seen in several of his poems. So here he begins, he talks of the people who have some roadside stand, like some extension of their house is turned into a shop or a stall, and they sit there in the hope of selling their goods and articles. So a roadside, a little old stand is out with a little new shed in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. So there is a house, so I can say that it is about say some highway. There is a road on there is a house on the roadside, and that house has now got some extension, and that extension comes almost to the road, and that extension is turned into a shop or a stall. So that's why a little old house is out with a little new shed. So a shed is there, and they sit there to sell their goods. So it's a kind of stall or a shop so that's why in front at the edge of the road. So by the edge of the road and where the traffic sped. So traffic is speeding by, that means the people are speeding by those stalls and those shops. And what they wish from these people, what is the purpose? A roadside stand, that too pathetically pled. Now here the stand seems to be pleading, and that is not possible. So we say here the poet has used what? Personification. The poet has used personification here, pathetically pled, alliteration as well, and the roadside stand is pathetically pleading, that is requesting. So we can say that this is quite we can say perfectly a personification, because the stands don't plead, and here they are presented as pleading. So a roadside stand, that too pathetically pled. That means they seem to be pleading, they seem to be requesting from these people who pass by them on the highways. it would not be fair to say for a doll of bread. So it's not correct. It would not be fair to say that they demand some alms. They are begging. No, they are not begging. They don't want anything for free in alms. Not at all. They don't want any of these things, but for some of the money, some cash, whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. So what? Of course they are not asking for anything for free. They are not begging. They are not asking something in alms. And instead what? They want some money, some cash. They are there out with their shops and stalls, and they expect these city dwellers, these people who pass by them, to buy something from them so that they can have some money, some inflow of cash, and so that they can flourish and prosper. So that's what the poet is trying to say here, that it would not be fair to say for a doll of bread. So doll of bread is what? Some alms, something for free, just alms and begging. So not that it would not be fair to say for a doll of bread. No, not at all. But for some of the money, some cash, whose flow supports the flower of cities. Now here flower of cities is what? Metaphor. This is an example of metaphor, because the flower of cities is about these suburban people, these countryside people, and just as what happens when a flower or a plant doesn't get nutrition, it withers and sinks and droops and wilts and dies. Same way, if these people, they don't have any inflow of money, they don't have any cash flow, then what would happen? They would also die. They would not be able to survive. They won't be able to prosper. They won't be able to have a good life. So that's why whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. The polished traffic passed with a mind ahead. So the polished traffic, here it is transferred epithet, an example of transferred epithet, because traffic is not polished. Here actually what the poet is trying to say about these city people who pass, and they consider themselves to be polished, that is sophisticated, refined, all say civilized and so. But how the polished traffic passed with a mind ahead. So here I said it's an example of transferred epithet, and transferred epithet means when we transfer an epithet from something to something else to which it doesn't belong. So that is called transferred epithet. Epithet is an adjective, and here we are transferring that adjective from something to which it belongs to something else to which it doesn't belong. For example, if I say weary way, so way cannot be weary or tired, only we human beings or animals, living beings can be weary or tired. So attaching the quality to something to which it doesn't belong is called transferred epithet. If I say sleepless night, so how can night be sleepless? Only a living being can be sleepless. So when we transfer such a quality to something to which it doesn't belong, that is called transferred epithet. So here the poet is saying the polished traffic passed with the mind ahead means these sophisticated, the so-called sophisticated and refined people, they don't even cast a glance at these people. They are all proud and haughty, and they just with such an overbearing look, they just go away without even looking at them, or don't even trying to understand their conditions, having no empathy with these people. They just move away. And what if ever aside a moment, then out of sorts at having the landscape marred with the artless paint of signs that has turned wrong and turned wrong. So what here is trying to say the poet, that if ever aside a moment, generally they don't cast glance aside, they don't look here and there at these people, have no empathy for these people, but okay, by chance if they look aside, then what? They get upset. Then they get upset, they are disturbed, they are like disgruntled and dissatisfied, that how these people have marred the scenery, how these people have spoiled and ruined the whole scenery with the artless paint. That is, these people they are not quite skilled, or they are all we can say uncouth, and with in that artless paint, what they just make the scene all, they ruin the scenery, they ruin or spoil the landscape, and these city dwellers, they get upset by all that. Just as when you pass by the highways, you might have seen small villages, people have written with limestone or just some coal piece or something like that in their on zigzag and jagged handwriting. So they when they do all this, and these city people see, they feel quite upset by all that signboards are all turned wrong, and it has all been like untidy. So when the city dwellers, the so-called sophisticated city dwellers, when they find all this in a totally disturbed manner, all painted with in their unskilled and uncouth manner, they are all upset, they are out of sorts. And what these and turned wrong and has turned wrong, this is actually about the signboards which are wrongly just stalled there, and they show some like wrong directions and all. So offering for sale wild berries in wooden pots, or crook-necked golden squash with silver warts. So what these people, they sit in their shops or their stalls, and they offer these things like wild berries as per the season, we can say the golden squash, like here in India we have things like cucurbitous family, as you might have read or studied in if you are a science student. So the things like ash gourd, bitter gourd, all these things, they come under cucumber, they come under these golden squash, and they are eaten raw. They are not eaten after they are ripe. No, they are eaten green and raw. So they offer for sale these things, sitting in their at their stalls and shops. They offer for these things, and what? So these city dwellers, they are upset when they see all these, that how they have turned the signboards wrong, and they do all these things in a very unskilled manner. So they are upset. Or otherwise, one is what, that at having the landscape marred, they get upset at that. Or if they look aside, then what? Or the beauty rests in beautiful mountain scene. Or they stop, or they stop to enjoy the beauty of the nature, that how beautiful the mountain scene is, how beautiful the landscape is. So they stop, or they cast a glance aside to enjoy this beauty of nature, to have some like, okay, let's have some, take a selfie or something and post it on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. So they stop, or they just cast a glance aside just to enjoy the beauty of nature, not to buy anything from these people. So okay, you have the money. But if you want to be mean, so then keep your money this crossly and go along. So what's this? It is what? The expression of anger by these people. When they see that these city dwellers, they have all money, they are all rich and affluent, and still they behave so meanly and cheaply, they they don't want to spend their money purchasing the items from these people. They behave in a very mean and cheap manner, having like no humanly feelings, and so they these countryside people or the suburban people, they also get upset and they feel that they are so mean. But we have some self-respect. Okay, if you don't want to buy, then okay, go along. We don't want want you to buy something from us as well. You can go along. So they get angry and frustrated by such a behavior and such a demeanor of these people, and they don't care, then letting them go. They don't care. Okay, you go along, and we don't want you to purchase anything from us. We also have some self-respect. That's how they behave and they feel. So the poet here say what this scenery. So the harm to the scenery won't be my complaint. Hence, I don't complain of this damage to the scenery what they have done. So that is not my complaint. These are quite simple people living in their simple ways and just trying to earn money through simple means. So I don't complain of these harm to the scenery if they have done anything. They are simple people living in a simple way. So why should one complain of that? The poet has some other complaints, so much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. Means the poet complains of that these people they hope, they trust these city dwellers that they would buy something from them, but it results only in sorrow, it results only in disappointment, and they don't purchase anything from them. So in a way this can also be called, trusting sorrow can be called transferred epithet, because sorrow is generally don't trusting. So the poet here is saying that these people, they trust these city dwellers, or they hope actually that these people would buy something from them, but it results only in disappointment and sorrow because they don't purchase anything from them. They just move ahead and go ahead. So here, far from the city, we make a roadside stand to ask for some money to feel in hand. So these people, the suburban, these countryside people, so away from the city, because suburban area is what, like the outer part of the city, away from the city, not just totally countryside or the village, or not totally city. So outer part, and so in between this city and village, they have their shops, and they expect that these city dwellers will buy something from them. So the poet here say, here far from the city we make our roadside stand to ask for some money to feel in hand. So with their stalls projected or extended outside their homes, they expect these city dwellers that while passing by their shops, they would stop there for some moment and would buy something from them. But this doesn't happen, and they feel that if it will not make our being expand. So they wish and they feel that if they get some money, then there would be some expansion, that is some upliftment in their lives, there would be some progress, they would also be able to have some betterment and live some good life. They expect so from these people. If they get some money, there will be some betterment in their lives. To try if it will not make our being expand, or what? To give us the life of moving pictures promise. That is what they feel, that if they get some money, they would also be able to have a life that is shown in moving pictures, that is films and movies. So the kind of life, that glittering life, that glitzy life which is shown in the movies and such, So they expect and they wish, they crave and they desire that that kind of life they could also be able to lead or have full of fashion and style, or at least some betterment should be there in their lives. That is what they expect, and which the party in power is said to be keeping from us. That means that these city dwellers, these politicians, so they feel that yes, they would get something, they expect and they crave and they desire that they get something from these people, but they don't get anything, and they live in poverty, they live in utter poverty and misery, and they feel they blame it on the politicians that the party in power is said to be keeping from us. Means they are promised of a good life, they are promised of a better life, but what happens is they don't do anything for these people. So that's why the party in power is said to be keeping from us. That means these politicians, the political parties, though they promise, but they don't do anything, and thus in that way, having their votes, when their purpose is sold, when their interest is served, they keep them away from all such things. Those promises are not fulfilled, and such a life remains far from their reach. So that's what happened with these people. And now the poet is saying that it is in the news that these pitiful kin are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in the villages. So it is in the news generally, as we see, especially in the big cities, and so that some slum like areas or such areas. So what happens that the rich people, the affluent and opulent people, what do? They ask them to evacuate the places because they want to build some multi-story, or they want to build some hotel or something like that, some resort, and they promise them, okay, that you don't worry, that will provide you everything, all the facilities in place of these things if you evacuate this place. So it is in the news that these pitiful kin are to be bought out, means their lands would be bought from them, and then they would be just shifted to some other place in some village. So are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in some villages. So they would be asked to evacuate, their lands would be taken or purchased from them in in very say petty exchange, very trifle exchange. They would get nothing for their lands, and there they would build something big. So they would be gathered and they would be shifted to some village next to the theatre and the store. And what these people are promised, that you don't worry, will build a theatre for you, will build mall and such kind of good store for you, and you will have all the facilities. So these are just examples to tell them that will provide you all the amenities. You will have really a very good and luxurious life there, a very comfortable life there. Here you don't have anything, and there will build a theatre for you. You can entertain yourself and your family. You can purchase things quite in cheap exchange and cheap prices. There will have the stores and such things for you. So they are promised like that, and making such promises, their lands are purchased from them, and they are in petty prices, and they are shifted to some village or some such place where, and they are said where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. Means you won't have to think of yourself, you won't have to worry at all, you won't have to care at all. Everything would be looked after, everything would be taken care of, and you won't have to worry at all about anything. We will take care of all your problems and all your demands and things, and will provide you all the facilities there. That's what they are promised. while the greedy good doers and beneficent beasts of prey. So here it's a very beautiful example of oxymoron and alliteration. What the poet has used, the greedy good doers and beneficent beasts of prey. So here it's an example of oxymoron. And what is oxymoron? Oxymoron is a literary device in which two contradictory terms are put together which express or convey a socially accepted truth. So that is oxymoron. For example, if I say sweet pain, so sweet, if it is sweet, how can it be pain? And if it is pain, how can it be sweet? For example, if I say lawless law, if it is law, how can it be lawless? And if it is lawless, how can it be law? Open secret, if it is open, how can it be secret? And if it is secret, how can it be open? So the poet here is talking of, the poet has used, a good example of oxymoron. So how it is actually, it is possible, and as I said, it is some socially accepted truth. For example, I just told you about sweet pain, like the children are parting from their parents for higher studies or for achieving some higher goal. So this parting is painful, right? But it is sweet as well, because they are going away to make their careers or make their future, to have or achieve some higher goals. So there is sweetness as well. So it is sweet, but it is painful. So that is sweet pain. So in all these examples of oxymoron, this happens that there are contradictory terms, but they are actually some generally or socially accepted truth. They convey something like that. So here, while greedy good doers and beneficent beasts of prey, these are examples of alliteration as well. Greedy good doers, so g sound, beneficent beasts, so b sound. So these are examples of alliteration as well. So while greedy good doers and beneficent beasts of prey swarm over their lives, enforcing benefits. So what does this mean? That these people, they show or pose themselves to be what? Good doers, that we are your well-wishers, we will do all everything best for you, but inside they are greedy. They show themselves to be beneficent, that yes, will pour all the benefits and profits and all the good things upon you, but inside they are beast and savage and barbaric. They are like cruel people. So they pose and they show, swarm over their lives enforcing benefits. So they just give them some temporary benefits, some small benefits, and they just are like made happy. They are, we can say, they are given some small benefits and things, and they are made happy. And these people, they just prove in that way, in those small ways, they prove themselves to be good doers, they prove themselves to be beneficent, that yes, we are your well-wishers and we are doing everything for your sake, for your benefits. And see, like we are here, we are your servants, and we are here to serve you, and you don't have to worry for anything at all. And then what happens? These are all actually that are calculated to soothe them out of their wits. But actually what? This is all calculated. This is all planned. And what? They knowingly do this until these people, they are actually, they are small people, and what? They are satisfied with the small things they know. So they offer some temporary benefits to these people, and when they are happy with that, then what? They don't think, they don't have that vision, they don't have that wisdom to understand that it is actually going to ruin their lives in the long run. It is actually going to destroy their future hopes and all. They don't understand that. And these people actually just have their axe to grind in that. These people serve their interest in that way. So what the poet is trying to say, that are all calculated to soothe them out of their wits. It means their wits, they soothe them. It means they just appease them, they just pacify, placate them through their promises and those small things. And these people, their wit are closed, it doesn't work after that, and they just are in their, we can say, on their, at their feet, and just like praying and just folding hands before them and just praising them and just adoring them. It's what this is what happens with these countryside people. And now the poet is trying to say, and thus what happens by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day and destroy their sleeping the ancient way. So here it means, so they teach them how to sleep and they sleep all day. It means they just offer those temporary benefits and they say that yes, now you don't worry, see we have done all this for you, now you go and sleep, you go and take rest, you don't worry at all, we will be here always. And then what? When their purpose is solved, when their interest is served, they don't even turn back or visit or come to those places. Just as we see after elections, these politicians, they don't even visit their constituencies once. So they teach them how to sleep, but then when their purpose is solved, they sleep all day. They don't care a whit for these people and destroy their sleeping, and then destroy their sleeping the ancient way. That is how it happened in the ancient and earlier times, that people were slaves and they worked and worked and they got nothing. All the benefit was reaped by the landlords and the high class people, and these people lived in utter poverty. So this is now happens, that destroy their sleeping. So once their interest is served, what happens? They go and sleep and destroy their sleep. It means just as we can correlate this condition with the present one, that the government is formed, they don't do anything, they make promises that you won't have to pay the loans, they offer loan waivers, they offer jobs, but once they are in power, they don't care for jobs, they don't care for the problems of the youth. Loan waivers are just, it was a gimmick to come into power and such. So they don't offer any relief, and they have sleepless nights then. So this is what happens. So now the poet says that sometimes I feel myself, I cannot bear the thought of childish longing, so much childish longing in vain. So yes, the poet feels that I cannot bear, really, I cannot tolerate, I cannot put up with this, that how these people in a childish manner, just like children, they long, they desire and they crave for certain things, the inflow of money from these people. So I cannot bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain, and that is all in vain, useless, futile, because nothing is going to happen. So childish longing. Why childish longing? Because what? That these people actually just like small children, like they wait for their parents, that okay, as soon as they come, they just go and just we can say hug them and just go hug their legs and all, and they expect, yes, they might have brought something for them. So that is what the children, they are full of the cravings and expectations that parents might have brought something for them. And these people, so they have those childish cravings that these people expect from the city dwellers, those passers-by, that yes, they'll come to them and they'll buy something from them. But that doesn't happen. And what? So I cannot bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain. The sadness that lurks near the open window there. The sadness that lurks near the open window. lurks, that lies hidden. So what? They sit at their stalls near the window and they just look out, and it is their faces reflect that sadness and sorrow, that yes, they are expecting that yes, they would come, that they would stop and do something for them. So I cannot bear that sadness, the sorrows on their faces. I cannot bear, I cannot tolerate. That's what the poet feels. The poet really feels for these people. He really empathizes and sympathizes with these people. And then what? And the sadness that lurks near the open window there, what? Almost all day, that wait all day in almost open prayer. That means the prayer goes on. Why open prayer? Because they are not sitting in a temple or a mosque or any place of worship. They just sit there in their stalls and shops, and they go on praying, oh God, please make him stop. Oh God, please like something, at least something be sold today. Oh God, please let me have some cash or some money. Oh God, please. So they just go on praying like that and sitting in their shops. That's why the poet said that waits all day in almost open prayer. That they go on praying and praying and praying of all. For what? Sorry, for what? For the squeal of brakes, for the sound of a stopping car. Of all the 1,000 cars that pass, at least one to inquire what a farmer's prices are. So they expect for a squeal of brakes, they expect for a sound of a stopping car, that yes, at least one would apply the brakes, at least one would stop here. All the 1,000 cars that morning till night, endlessly, continuously, all these vehicles and cars go on. So they wish just one among all these would stop here and would ask, oh, that yes, how much, that how you like sell these things. So at least one to come at their shop and ask them that how much dear, how much you this cost and all. So they just expect and pray only for that. And yes, it happens that these cars stop, and one did stop, but only to plow up grass in using the yard to bag and turn around. So yes, people stop, but not to buy, unfortunately, not to buy anything from these people, but what? But to turn back actually, and in the process of turning back, they plow up the grass, the obstructions are removed, and then they turn around and go, and their hopes are turned into sorrow. That they hope, oh, that yes, one has come and it has stopped and will come out, someone would come out of the car and would purchase something from them, but that doesn't happen. They turn around and then they pass and they go away. So what the poet says, and yes, not just this, another to ask the way to where it was bound. And yes, there are other people also, the other cars and other vehicles, they also stop, but not again to purchase anything, but simply to ask the dear to where this way leads, where it goes to, where it is bound for. They stop there to ask that, and again to their disappointment, again to their sorrow, it happens so. And another to ask, could they sell it a gallon of gas? No, they couldn't. This crossly, now they had none, didn't it see? Now they are finally irritated when they expect people to stop and buy something, and when this doesn't happen, they come and they ask something else. They have nothing to do with their condition, with their plight, and what they are selling or what they are expecting. They go there for these things. So finally they are frustrated and irritated that can't you see that you'll get gas here at the stall, that we who are simple rustic people selling, offering these things, you expect gas here? How can you? Can't you see? And they get this crossly, they get angry at these, frustrated at these, irritated at these people. So finally now the poet says, no, in country money, country scale of gain. So what? That in country money, country scale of gain. So yes, if you don't have any outside source of income, if you don't have any inflow or influx of money from outside, then what? You will have only the limited resources, limited income, limited money, and that will only revolve and go around. And how can you expect to progress and go ahead with that limited resources? That's what the poet is trying to say, that we cannot expect a good growth and progress and development with the limited resources they have. So these people have limited resources, very limited means, and so the growth and the aspects of progress, the possibility of progress is very slow. So that's why country money, country scale of gain. So country scale of gain is very slow scale of gain. Country money, the limited resources, the limited means they have. So no, country money, in country money, the country scale of gain, the requisite lift of spirit has never been found. That is requisite, required. So how can, if you don't have money, if you don't have resources, if you don't have ways for progress, then how can there be any enthusiasm, how can there be any zeal, or how can there be any such high spirit? So that's why the requisite lift of spirit has never been found. Without, say, money, or without any means, without any good resources, it's not possible, because it all depends on the resources you have, the money you have, and so it has never been found. Or the poet says, or so the voice of country seems to complain. That is, or perhaps this is what they say, this is their complaint, is that how can we progress without any source of income, without any inflow of money or income? We have only limited resources, so there is no way out for progress and development for us. We will have to continue like this unless we are supported by the other people as they expect from the city dwellers. So the poet says, I can't help owning the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. So the poet says, really, it would be a great relief for me. I'd be really relieved if someone comes and tell me that yes, if these people by some magic, a stroke of miracle or magic, that these people are just taken out of all their pain, these people are brought out of their pain, they are pulled out of their pain. So really, I would be quite relieved. The poet really earnestly wish for these people that they should be taken out of their problems and their miseries. So yes, this is what they wish, this is what he prays. And then what? He says that I wonder, and next day when I would be in the same, as though the poet is trying to say it is just an illusion and hallucination, that it's not possible that some magic would occur, some miracle would happen and these people would be pulled out of their pain. So that's why he's saying in the next line that next day when I would be in the sane, when I would come into my senses, I would be all conscious and sane, then I wonder how I should like you to come to me and put me out of my gently out of my pain. So then I would wish that you people come to me and then tell me that someone would do something for these people and they come out of their pain. So next day when I would be in the same, how I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of my pain, that I would surely like you to tell me, break this news out, that yes, these people are out of their pain, that something has been done for these people and these people have been pulled out of their miserable condition, their miserable plight. And then when this happens, when these people are taken out of their plight, then yes, I would automatically be out of my problems, because my pain is that they are in pain. So if they are out of their pain, then I'll definitely be out of my pain. So I expect that someone should do something for these people, that people should come forward and they should be helped, they should be supported by these city dwellers or by the rich people. And when this happens, definitely I would automatically be out of my pain, because the poet's pain is totally concerned with the pain of these people. So this is how, in a very beautiful manner, the poet has conveyed the problems and pathetic conditions of these roadside people who have their stands in front of the road and expect these people, the city dwellers, to buy something from them. They wish for some inflow of cash. So how they should also be cared for. People should have some empathy for these people as well. So this is all the poet is talking about. I hope you understood all this very well. The explanation was proper, I hope, and this helps. I guess, I hope. And for more such lectures, for more such videos, keep watching, stay tuned, and till then, thank you, bye bye.